Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the Community InRoads show, where today you are going to be meeting some of the, today in particular, one of the most awesome nonprofits that are making and is making a big difference in the city of Haverhill and Lawrence and the Merrimack Valley. My name is Joan Kulash. I'm going to be your host today. And with us are...
I'm Alice Denley, a fruitcake.
Fruitcake. Yes, of the finest kind, with the freshest of fruits. And we have Amy Anwyl, who is the executive director of Sarah's Place, which is an adult
health, yep.
And then we have Maria Barker Casey, who is the daughter of a former participant of Sarah's Place. So let's get started. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. So why don't we start, Amy? I just want everybody to understand how you and I got together. And maybe we should actually start by talking about Lisbeth Noyes, who is your main contact from Community InRoads. So
sure.
She's not here today because it's her birthday. So I think we should all look at the camera and
happy
say,
birthday, Lisbeth.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Lisbeth Noyes. So Community InRoads is a nonprofit also.
Right.
And what we do is we work with the nonprofits specifically in Haverhill and Lawrence to make them as strong as possible. And we've been doing some work with Sarah's Place.
Yes, you have.
I'm just wondering if you could just toot our horn just a little bit
Absolutely,
before we get into the main part of the show.
Yeah. I don't actually, I'm trying to remember when I first met Lisbeth, but she was, and continues to be, always reminding me of opportunities on how we can improve us. Community InRoads to me is like the best friend of a nonprofit, because they're always like, hey, you should be doing this, or hey, are you aware of that? So they put us in touch with Bernadette Orr, who was one of the volunteers that worked with the board to help us with our strategic planning, which was really, really helpful. And it was actually perfect timing because I think it actually was right before the pandemic hit. And I felt like it kind of fused the board together, because Maria's also on the board.
Right.
I apologize.
Which is so nice.
And so I feel like her bringing us all together kind of gave us a footprint of where to move on. And then later, Judy Normandy helped with, because as a nonprofit, we're always needing something. And we've been very blessed since the beginning that people have donated to Sarah's Place. And she was really trying to help me market us a little bit better, more successfully, as well as getting a donor list. So again, we've just been really lucky. And sometimes I think when you're running or working at a nonprofit, you do a lot of things. And so I feel like Community InRoads reminds you like, hey, you know what? There's an expert in that field and you don't necessarily have to do it by yourself. So we've been very, very fortunate. And still are.
We're
thank you.
very grateful for the volunteers that work with Community InRoads to help organizations like yours. And everybody, you're going to be seeing why it's so important to help organizations like Sarah's Place.
Yeah.
So let's really get into the meat of things right now and stop talking about us and start talking about Sarah's Place.
Sure.
So tell me a little bit. You actually were the first employee at Sarah's Place.
Yes,
and look how young she looks.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, she looks so young.
Yeah.
And here she is. So what was the need? Why was it started? What attracted you to being part of that?
Well, the three gentlemen from three local agencies, so David Thomas was the executive director of Bethany Community Service, Ray Pelletier was the executive director of the YMCA, and Julian Rich was the executive director of Pennacook Place. And they came together and felt that Haverhill needed a little bit more services to an aging group. And so there was an adult day health program in Haverhill already, but they felt like the population really required it. So we were very blessed that the three gentlemen got a grant from the Wadley Foundation, and with that money they were able to, I actually started on Valentine's Day, which always cracks me up because, you know, to me, Sarah's Place is, it's always been a blessing to work there, and you have to, when you work there, you have to love it, I think, or you don't stay with it. So I was hired in February, and then we opened on April 3rd, so we're coming up on our 22nd anniversary. So they Yeah, so we started with one. It started with me. I hired our nurse, Evelyn Osborne. When we opened up on April 3rd, we had one participant, and we just have been really blessed that we kind of grew from there. So within the first 5 years, we were at our capacity at the time, which was 30. And so we spent really the next 5 years trying to find a space. And we opened up a second program, actually at the same location, which is kind of funny to folks that we're at either end of the Mission Towers, which is a Bethany building, and elder housing. So we've just been really, really lucky that I always tease people and say, we're like moss, we grow on people. The more they see us, the more they like us. And so I just, have been very blessed to have been with Sarah's Place all those years, because I know that's kind of uncommon nowadays. But I do think that everyone who comes to Sarah's Place, alters our path in such a good way. Because, if we meet someone who is passionate about, whatever it is, we find out that other people also have that same passion. So new people are always joining us. And so to me, Sarah's Place is very, we're a moving target. We're going where our folks are interested in. And that's the goal, keep people busy, healthy, active, and feeling, part of a community.
So tell me, and everybody out in the listening audience,
Yeah.
what do you do at Sarah's Place? What are some of the activities that you do? And you actually sent us some pictures, so maybe HC Media would be kind enough to show some of the pictures as you're speaking.
Yeah, sure. Sarah's Place is all about keeping folks busy. So we start out with a light breakfast because, again, sometimes as we grow older, we're not as good at cooking for ourselves as others, or we just don't want to because it's not as much fun. We start with a light breakfast. We always say a cup of conversation and, get people going on current events. Then we do an exercise program. And then we do activities that challenge the body and then challenge the mind. So we might do a trivia game, or we might be doing our version of bowling. There's kind of, again, every day is a little bit different. We do a lunch that, again, I always kind of think of it as kind of like a Sunday dinner, a more substantial meal at lunchtime. And after we eat lunch, we exercise again because we have to help our digestion. And then again, the same plan continues where we do something physical and then something where we're using our body and we're using our mind. Because again, what's that old adage? If you don't use it, you lose it. So we want to keep people healthy and staying independent and in their own homes. And that's the beauty of Sarah's Place. We just borrow people for the day and then they return home. Mm-hmm. So I think it's
I've watched and seen some videos and photos of you in action. And when you say that you love Sarah's Place, you can see it. I mean, and that's why you've been there for 22 years. That is just an amazing testament to the organization. Can I just ask you in a couple of sentences, why do you love it so much? What is it about Sarah's Place? Because it's a lot of work being the head of a nonprofit, I can tell you that.
I apologize, I get emotional. I've always loved, I grew up with my grandmother, and older adults were always part of my life. So to me, it was always a blessing that people trust us, take care of someone. So sorry, I hate seeing them. To me, and that's what it is. It's a privilege because, we're not, these are people. So and my mom comes to Sarah's Place. So to me, that's the ultimate trust. But I also know that, my mom's older, and because of her health issues, her social opportunities have been really minimized. And so it's so important that people have so much to give. Our age does not denote our social interests and opportunities. And we don't always do such a great job in this, in our culture of revering and taking care of people that are older, although we are all aging in place. I mean, that's reality. So to me, it's always been important to take care of people as we age. And so I just feel like Sarah's Place has given me the opportunity to do what I love. So, yeah.
And it shows. And that's why you stood through it even during COVID, which I'm sure must have been a tremendous challenge, was it?
It was. When we first had to close, I'm sure like everybody, I think we thought it was going to be for, weeks or even months. And our population that we serve, to me, are already kind of at risk, because not everyone has the blessings of living with family. So, and older adults, you know, when the pandemic hit, you know, people were saying, you know, you have to protect them, you know, keep them inside, you know, don't let them go outside, because, you know, because COVID obviously could end their life. So we were really fortunate that we had a small core of staff that said, you know, like, you know, these people are, you know, so lonely and isolated at home. We need to do something about it. So we did a meal program, and we delivered activity packets. And that first day that we did, it was probably the greatest day ever, because it was visceral, like, oh my God, it's a human being. I mean, we had masks and we were all garbed up, but to see people, and I felt like for some of our folks, it was the first time that they'd seen someone in weeks. So it was really fun. We tried lots of things. You know, some things are great, some things we didn't have as much success about, but it was all about engaging people and keeping them busy. And so we did meal service 3 days a week, with activity packets, and then that kind of bridged us. Fortunately, we were blessed that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, you know, supported us as well as Wadley Foundation. We had a lot of support, and we applied for, you know, PPP loans and everything that, you know, there was available to us to sustain us, because sadly, I always think as a nonprofit, we put the non in profit. I wish that weren't the case, but you know, we work really, really hard, and we've always been blessed since the day that we opened that we meet families. And we're like that Brex shampoo commercial. They tell two friends and they tell two friends. So most of the folks that come to Sarah's Place have heard about us from someone else, which to me is so much better than, you know, reading it in an ad in a paper. So I feel like we've almost won them over before they come to our doors. So we've just been really, really lucky that, you know, people spend the day with us and then they go home. And to me, it's like perfect, because their loved one's busy and active, and if there's a caregiver, they get some time off, but they also know that their loved one's busy, and that if they have any questions or concerns, you know, we have a nurse, a social worker, activities director, whatever's needed to help them navigate the day. So, you know.
Alice, what do you think about all this? What brought you to Sarah's Place? What would life be like without it?
If I had not had the daughter-in-law I have, I never heard of Sarah's Place. I have not enough words to tell you how wonderful this place is. I feel safe there. They do their darndest to make sure that you take one step sideways and you've got a helper right beside you. They want to make sure you're safe. They're kind. The games we play, it's just great. I wish that I could say and make you understand how wonderful it is there. And those people, those girls are unbelievable. And the cook is great. He really is. And so I am nothing but absolutely thankful to heaven that my daughter-in-law came across this place, because I don't have to look for the cracks in the ceiling anymore as I lay on the couch and watch commercials, because they got all kinds of little silly games, some of them, that we play, and we win nice little prizes. And I think without it, I'd be a very unhappy person. I just can't say how wonderful. I walk through the place, I know they think I'm nuts. I walk through the place singing zippity-doo-dah. I am so happy. And if you happen to just get up out of your seat, there's a girl there to make sure you're not going to fall. And you don't get the feeling that, oh God, here she goes. It was, oh, Alice is up. I better catch her before she gets in trouble, which is the truth. I'm a bad girl. But I just love that place beyond the words I have to say. Sweetheart, the help is there for you, and you don't get the feeling, oh God, she's moving again. It's, whoop, we better catch her quick. She's going to get in trouble for sure, because I'm a bad girl.
Well, let me ask you as a bad girl, when somebody mentioned to you, why don't you visit Sarah's place? I'm just thinking of my dad, who he actually passed away at the age of 104 a few years ago. Mentioning something like this, going to adult daycare, would be like, I don't want to hang around with all those old people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What was your thought when you're saying your daughter-in-law mentioned it?
Yes, she is a very strong-willed girl, and she was excited about what she saw about this place, and she got me, and of course, I'm an easygoing character. I like fun, I love people, and she kind of said, I think it would be better for you to get you out. It might help get I had a stroke and I couldn't even make a phone call. She said, I think you should get out. They'll help you. Activity, you're not laying around on the couch staring at the ceiling. And now I'd be there 7 days a week if I could. It's wonderful. And you walk it, before you even get in the door, those girls are there with a big smile on their face and, hi, how you doing? And they can't do enough for you. Of course, the mask goes on.
That's true. That's
and
true.
And the disinfectant on your hands.
That's true too, yes.
But those are the reasons I feel safe. They have done everything that they possibly can to make it so safe for us old birds. And I'm an old bird and I don't care.
And we're proud of it, though.
Yes.
Being old birds.
Yes,
right?
And they make you feel like you're worth something, not some bump on a log sitting there. And I love all the girls. I just love those kids. I think
Alice loves everybody because she is, without question, she could be, we don't need a PR company. We have Alice. And everyone who walks through the door, she does a wonderful. I know, but that's why it's beautiful. Her spirit about Sarah's Place is contagious.
It makes it easy to say, for me to say, and none of it is untrue, because it is absolutely wonderful, and I hug them all. I'm not sure how they feel about that, but I do. I'm a people person, and I know when I'm in a good place, and this is superb.
And I would imagine, and actually, Maria, that's why you're here, is, it makes a big difference, not just for the people who are participating, for people like you, Alice, but, family members, to know that people who they love, who mean so much to them, that they're going to a place that is enriching the quality of their lives. And in fact, they're enriching the quality of other people's lives. Your dad, how long did he go there? What was his odyssey with Sarah's Place?
Well, just give you a little bit of information about my dad, Joe Barker. Yeah. He was born on St. Patrick's Day in 1936.
A true Irishman.
A true Irishman, that's right, Alice. Yes. During the flood of 1936. And he married my mom, Elaine Barker, and had 4 children, my brother Peter, my sister Angela, my sister Deanna, and myself. And he owned a drugstore, Roach Pharmacy in Haverhill. And we closed the drugstore in the 80s, and he went to work at Textron and had several years at Textron. And then he retired. And he needed something to do, and my sister Deanna, who works for Bethany Homes in Mission Towers, where Sarah's Place is, said to my dad, hey, maybe you can volunteer at Sarah's Place. Mm-hmm. And he would walk from my parents' home up on Broadway to Sarah's Place and volunteered. Mm-hmm. And he just loved it. He was just part of the community there. And then my dad got diagnosed with vascular dementia. Mm-hmm. And then he became a participant of Sarah's Place.
I want to see a smile. There you go, girl. That's beautiful.
And Sarah's Place was just a godsend to all of us. because he was involved. He had a community, he had the activities, he had friends like Alice. Alice wasn't there at the time, but there were other participants that he became really good friends with. And it was a godsend also for my mom, who was his primary caregiver, that he was safe. And he was involved with Sarah's Place, with the community, but she was able to continue with her business. She had a business, which she still has today, so it gave her respite. So it's a win-win. Sarah's Place is a win-win for all, the participant, the family members, and for the workers of Sarah's Place, which are wonderful. I mean, Amy and her staff are just above. They are the best. I see it, being a board member, but what they've gone through, especially during COVID, they are amazing. They are angels.
Yes, that's it, angels.
Aren't they angels? And we're so fortunate in Haverhill, in the Merrimack Valley, to have a place like Sarah's Place. And as the baby boomers get older, there's going to be more and more of a need. And they treat our older generation with dignity and with grace, and they are human beings, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
we deserve no less.
I can't tell you how nice these girls are. The whole situation there lifted a load off of my head to see all these girls that are so nice. The place is nice, the activities, although I couldn't hit the side of a barn door, I'm winning prizes, and I'm having a good time doing it.
Amy, what are some of your challenges that you'd like to share with the people in Haverhill and the Merrimack Valley that they might be able to help with, right?
Sure. Well, Sarah's Place is a nonprofit. Thank you, Joan. We are always, we love donations. I'm not going to lie that we don't. We're very dependent on that, because really the rates that we get reimbursed from the state, unfortunately, don't really cover our true costs.
Of course not.
Of course not, is right. So, we're always going to be grant writing and holding fundraisers. Maria's family really does a fundraiser for us every year in honor of her dad. It used to be in the month of March, and now it's halfway to St. Patrick's Day, so we do it in October.
We had a good time St. Patty's Day. We were singing and clapping and stomping.
Absolutely. We love parties. We love a reason to celebrate. I think when people think, obviously sharing the word about it, and I'm a fan of adult day health programs in general, doesn't need to be just Sarah's Place, but that, older adults, I think, I know you had mentioned before about when you say the topic of adult day health or adult daycare, people get this like, I don't want to do that.
I'm not a kid.
Yeah, exactly. But the reality, we're all creatures of habit. And so, it's scary sometimes to try something new, especially when, we've been retired and we haven't been doing things for a while. But I really do think adult day health programs provide people an opportunity to actually reconnect with the community.
Makes us shine.
Exactly. And so, to me, I think the more we can make people aware that there are programs like ours in the community, it's wonderful. I think the more that we can, I think that we all have a responsibility of being kinder to people. Again, recognizing that we're all getting there. But staying healthy and active doesn't end at any age. It's really, really important that we all do that. But if I'm trying to think of, people sometimes offer us donations, like items, but again, because of COVID, sometimes we're a little bit hesitant. Sadly, we love, gift cards to places because we're always buying things for Sarah's Place, but because, I think financially we're always going to be fighting a tide of our clientele, unfortunately, because of their health issues, are often absent, and we don't get paid if they're not there. So, we may plan for 40 people to be there, but only 32 show. I'm
there all the time.
I know you are, Elsa. I know you don't miss. But that's, a financial struggle that we as an organization are always trying to work with, because, you staff to what you expect. And we're committed to, always be there. To me, we are the reason why people don't have to go into a long-term care facility. We are the reason why people don't have to necessarily, go to the emergency room, because, we're blessed with nurses, so that if, that old saying, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. To me, that's what we do best, because we know the folks that come to Sarah's Place, and we know if there's something different, we can nip it in the bud rather than, letting something else go. So I just think of us as kind of a safe, supportive environment. I always say, we're like summer camp for seniors, except it's year round. But that's the premise. It's keeping people busy.
Seniors really need a lot of help. We've kind of been pushed to the side, but we're still real people.
Absolutely.
And the fun that we have there, laughter, even laughter over trying to figure out who's the oldest at the table. Half the time we don't know the date, but we find out, and we have a great time doing it. Laugh, and laughter is good for you.
Good for your soul.
Let me ask you, are you needing, one thing is dollar donations.
Yeah, sadly.
Volunteers.
Volunteers, absolutely.
So what kind of volunteer work did your dad do, Joe?
Oh, he worked in the kitchen and cleaning the tables and just,
Sometimes we have folks that, sometimes Joe absolutely was helping in the kitchen. He loved cleaning. But he also loved chatting with folks.
Socializing.
And sometimes, absolutely. I mean, when we have volunteers, I always say, what do you like to do? Because whatever you like to do, you can share it with somebody else. And again, that's sometimes how we'll have, we have a volunteer, Kathy, who comes in and does a crafts and arts and crafts program. And some people are like, it's funny because, that's the beauty of, I think, as you grow older, you're like, you know what, I've never done it before. Who cares? Let's try it now. I mean, that's the beauty, I think, of, we are a little bit less self-conscious about, what we've always done. We can try something new. Mm-hmm. So I think it's one of those places that, I know that when I give, you just get much more in return, than you ever anticipated.
So if somebody wanted to volunteer, how would they go about doing that? Would they
could
contact you? And we're going to put out the contact information for people to see so that they can contact you. Checks or
we have a PayPal.
No, seriously.
Yeah, we
PayPal.
have a website that has a PayPal account, but checks work as well.
And is an event coming up?
You were
mentioning something that was.
Yeah, well, our anniversary is coming up, so we have our 22nd anniversary on April 3rd. But we sadly, because of COVID, we're not really opening up to the community, which is what we would normally do.
All right.
We have we're doing a live drawing every day right now for the month of March. March on to support Sarah's Place, where there's only a few days left. But if you tune in at 10:30, we draw a name and a number and tell a great joke. Great joke every day. We do a golf tournament every year. This year it'll be September 23rd at Bradford Country Club, and then we'll do a halfway to St. Patrick's Day, which is going to be October 2nd. Thank you.
So if some people wanted to even start getting involved with some of the events, either, hey, I want to attend, or maybe I want to help, they should also contact you as well?
Absolutely. Yep.
So let me ask you one other thing, and it's a personal question.
Okay.
You ready for this?
I don't know.
Are you looking for staff?
We are looking for staff.
So can we talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. COVID, I think every business across the world is suffering because we were blessed with a really long-term staff, and a lot of those folks, when we temporarily closed for about 2 weeks. And people made a decision about whether or not they wanted to come back or not. And so some of our mature staff had decided that, they didn't want to. In the past, 2 years, we've hired people. We're a nonprofit, so I'm not going to say that we're as competitive financially as other organizations, but I think what we don't make up in financial, we make up in other areas that far outweigh the beauty. So we're looking for program assistants and drivers. Those are the folks that are, to me, are the people that are spending time with the folks that attend Sarah's Place and obviously picking them up and things like that. But, and again, contact me. We're happy to tell you more. I always say that to me, Sarah's Place, when you talk about it, people kind of get an image, but when they cross our threshold, then they get we have a saying, feeling the love, sharing the laughter. And that's my hope, that when you cross our threshold, that's what you feel.
So if somebody wanted to even come and check it out for a family member,
or we're trying right now, we're trying to visit people at home because, some people are conscious and cautious about COVID. We still wear masks, participants wear masks, we screen people at the door, we take every precaution that we can. So what we've been doing is staff have been going to the potential individual's home to kind of assess them at home and kind of get their comfort level. We do have 2 programs right now, they're merged into one, and we did that because of staffing issues. Mm-hmm. So our hope is that with more staff, we can then return to our, because we used to be able to serve up to 60 and now we're to 40. So, unfortunately it's a loss, but my hope is that we're going to get back to where we were.
And are job opportunities on your website?
No, they're not. Okay. Yeah.
Well, maybe we can see if we can get a community InRoads
There you
volunteer.
Go. Yes.
And so I do want to put out a plug for any individuals in our community who are professionals, who feel that they may want to lend their professional acumen to help organizations like Sarah's Place or another nonprofit. Give me a call, Joan Kulash, 978-604-8803, and I'll explain to you what the process is and opportunities. But it's the same thing. It just brings a lot of joy to people to be able to leverage their professional skills as well. Yeah. And just so that you know, these opportunities are short-term where there's a deliverable and then you're done. So you're not a forever volunteer, correct?
Yeah.
One other thing before we leave is, and this is an important thing that I didn't want to forget, the joke. The worst, best joke. Oh. The French joke.
Oh, that was the joke of the day today.
The joke of the day.
The joke of the day, sorry.
Do you remember that joke?
Did you hear that joke, Alice?
Yes,
it was, of course this is a joke because there was a horrible accident in a cheese factory. And I'm a horrible joke teller. I can't, now I already screwed it up, I think.
No, I think you're doing pretty
You think?
well.
All right, I'm sorry. I think I was afraid to, no, did you hear about the cheese factory that blew up? There was debris everywhere. I'm a horrible
And how
joke
long
teller.
does it take for people to get that, right? Cheese factory debris.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought that was adorable. It took me about 5 seconds to click.
Sorry.
So, and also when you're talking about how important it is for people to really understand what Sarah's Place is about, people need to step over the threshold. But I know that HC Media is being kind enough to show a little video.
Oh, right.
Just to show the faces of happy individuals who are engaged, truly engaged.
I have to say this. Come and see us. You will love it. And I know it will change a lot of minds. It's a wonderful, laughter is a good thing, and we laugh a lot, even if we don't know how old we are.
So I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Please feel free to contact Amy if you want to hear more about Sarah's Place. Contact me if you'd like to learn a little bit more about Community InRoads. And we're going to be sharing some more nonprofits with you thanks to HC Media and giving us the opportunity to visit your living rooms to learn about the wonderful organizations that are serving the people in Haverhill and in Lawrence. Let's say goodbye right now, but we'll see you soon.
Goodbye, and come and see us. You'll love it.
Thank you, Jill.
That was wonderful. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.